The next stop on the 1420 wild card preview is coming up to Canada, to Toronto, to Skydome, to Rogers Center. You got the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners. The Toronto Blue Jays were picked by a lot of the prognosticators and the experts in the preseason to win the World Series with their team that was had a decent season, not as great a season as they hoped. Nobody thought the Yankees would get out to the start that they got to and win the division like they did. But we'll talk about the Yankees probably on Tuesday when their playoff starts with the Tampa Bay Rays. Like I said, I predicted that. But Toronto, Seattle is going to be a very entertaining series. I think you're going to see a lot of runs this series. Toronto is back in the playoffs again. We don't really count the 2020 COVID thing when they played in front of a bunch of cardboard cutouts and 2 games they were done. See you later. That doesn't really amount to anything. First time since 2016, those two powerhouse Jays teams they had here with Edwin Encarnacion, the president of the Josh Donaldson fan club, Josh Donaldson, the bat flip, the whole thing. The baseball was relevant again in Canada. I love it. I love the way that panned out. I've said it before and I'll say it again. When baseball's when the Jays are great, it's good for me as baseball fan because it's more people talking about baseball in Canada. Beat that one till it's dead. The Mariners, first time in playoffs, they walked it off on Friday night to get back in the playoff race, back to the first time since 2001. It was a great celebration at I still call it Safeco once again. A great celebration there in Seattle. The city's behind, the Pacific Northwest is behind them. It's great for baseball. They're back in. It should be a great series, a high-scoring series. Man, oh man. I think that this one's going to go to 3 games as well. The home field advantage for this series, I think, is huge. Skydome, Rogers Center, whatever you want to call it, is going to be rocking. It's going to be loud. It's going to be electric. You got the whole country of Canada behind the Jays. I don't know how much in Vancouver. You got Mariners fans there, but in general, the city gets really behind the Jays. It's going to be crazy. Ticket sales are probably hot. I haven't had a chance to look at that one yet. Got a lot going on down here at the Yankee Tavern North, but I expect this to be a high-scoring series. I don't expect to be pitching to be a big factor other than game one where you got Alek Manoah. He's been lights out. He's been so good for the Jays this year against Luis Castillo, who was picked up from the Reds at the deadline. He's been very good. There was a big trade deadline acquisition. I thought Castillo was going to the Yankees, but he ended up going to their Mariners in a surprise move. That's going to be a great pitching matchup. But after that, it's a question mark. I don't like chicken stripling at all. To start, he's been tough. The Seattle starting pitching's okay, but their bullpen is really, really good, and that's what got them into the playoffs, in my opinion. But after the first 2 guys, I expect high scoring games. I expect a lot of runs to be scored. The Jays can hit. They can really, really hit, and to a man almost throughout the lineup. They're better position wise. You go through the top to bottom of the lineup, position players. The Jays are just a better team offensively. They're better athletically than the Mariners are. You got Vladdy, who's been okay. Bichette's been hot. He had a little bit of it. He was really hot for a while there, but he's going to be in front of his hometown crowd, and that hair will be flowing. I expect the Jays to outscore the Mariners quite heavily in this series. I still think it's going to go 3 games because of the pitching staff. The Jays, you don't know what you're going to be getting after their number one guy. This could be a coming out party, though, for a guy like Julio Rodriguez. He signed that big contract with the Mariners, their center fielder. He's probably one of the only guys that you could say maybe the Springer, you don't know what you're going to get with him. With his injury woes and what kind of things, but he does have the playoff experience, which is huge. I think that is going to be an X factor throughout the playoffs for the Jays with Springer's experience. But in general, Rodriguez is the only position player that American League Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, guaranteed. He's right there. He's the only position guy that is going to maybe overshadow Springer. But through the rest of them, you got to think that the Jays are going to out-hit, out-duel, outscore the Mariners. they're just not ready yet. The Jays have been poised to do some damage throughout the season. They were picked, like I said, they were picked to be the #1 team, the World Series winner, the whole bit by a lot of people. And now it's time to put their money where their mouth is and go for it. Like I said, I think it's going to go 3. I think the deciding factor is going to be the home field advantage for the Jays. Skydome, Rogers Center, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be great. I hope people right across the country and whoever listens to this show are getting behind the Jays on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and they turn off the whatever else they might be watching, because it's going to be. Don't be watching preseason hockey. Don't be watching the football games that you pretend you know you care about. Watch the Jays and have a good time, because it brings a lot of fun to businesses and establishments throughout our country. Jays in 3. First game 3-2, 2-1 kind of a deal, maybe for the Mariners, and then expect the Jays to outscore, out-hit the whole bit in the last 2. Look for some high scores in the final 2 games. That's my opinion on that one. Don't expect the Jays to go past the second round. They're not going to get by the Houston Astros. They're not, but expect the Jays to win this series in 3 games at Skydome. High-scoring games. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Jays in 3.